Yo, yo, what's going on, y'all? What's up? What's up? What's up? Yo, what's up? What's up? What's up? What's going on, y'all? Let's go. Let's go. Oh, this is my first time streaming with Ecamm. I think since the COVID days when I had a whole team, me being Marcus, and we had Dwayne on production. So y'all bear with me as I try to continue to bring you guys better content, uh, better produced content, and to make sure that I'm more stable in how I'm reaching you guys and ensuring that you guys can get the word. Amen. Get the word. Amen. What do you say? Get the word. Amen. What's up, y'all? I'm super excited about being here this evening. I don't have much to talk about. I did want to bring you guys some content because it's been a while. I'm super busy. I don't know if you guys know it. This week has been bananas. Last week started it. I lost my wallet with all of my credit cards, with all of my bank cards, ID, global entry card, social security card. So I'm just out here thugging it. But so anyway, I do want to. I got some issues I want to talk to you guys about. I want to talk more about how Democrats right now, establishment Democrats, are doing themselves a dangerous service by attacking DSA candidates. I want to talk about how they are starting to look like or pushing the narratives of Republicans and Donald Trump. I want to talk about how they look like in this moment, mainstream media and pundits, and how awfully wrong they are. But I don't want to do any of that before you all subscribe to wherever you're watching me at. Wherever you're watching, click subscribe and follow. And also make sure your notifications is on when the mayor goes live, dog. I'm out here stugging it. Being the mayor, Infield Energy's Futures, Black Male Voter Project Education Fund, Black Male Voter Project, Mundell at Mundell Robinson AI consulting firm. What's going on, man? I'm everywhere, but I'm not anywhere I shouldn't be because there's a lot of work to be done. And in this moment, it seems like we've forgotten ourselves. And by we, I mean those of us who actually hold the power. So let's go ahead. Let's go ahead. Wherever you are, share this right now. Make sure you get more people up here, get more eyes on what we have going on so that we can have more people hearing the good word. And don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to comment because I like to talk to the audience. Let's jump right into it. Oh, some other stuff that I want to talk about. Delaware. Y'all might remember Delaware is a real small state, but it's also the first state. So I want to talk about Delaware and what they got going on up there because they might be the blueprint for what we should be doing if we are so-called as progressive as we are. Let's get right into it. I don't know if you all have been paying attention, and if you've been under a rock. You may have been on a rock for 2026 and you've not seen or heard about what's going on with DSA candidates, Democratic Socialists of America candidates. These are candidates that are part of the Democratic Party. They're not a different party, just like the Republicans have the Freedom Caucus or whatever different caucus. The Democrat has different wings. It's interesting to me. I want y'all to pay attention to this now. It's interesting now that these DSA candidates are mollywopping, said a different way, Mundell, whooping the ass of establishment candidates. It's interesting that now people are talking about how the Democratic Party is at eternal war. There's a war now. Democrats that are losing, incumbents that are losing, incumbents that have done nothing for the people in their districts for this long, incumbents who have been serving corporate masters for this long. All of a sudden, now that they're losing elections, it's a problem. This idea that progressive is damning. But don't just stop there. I want y'all to put your thinking caps on. Not your tinfoil cap, your thinking cap. So let me say it clearer. When Bernie Sanders was the only so-called progressive on the scene, when Ed Markey was the only progressive on the scene, two white men No one said anything about progressives ruining the party. No one challenged the idea that we need this big tent party was all the establishment kept saying when they were enough. When they were winning elections, they were enough. Now we have people of color running under the DSA moniker, and all of a sudden progressive is a bad thing. It's it's a civil war. Well, I'm a black person of this. I'm of American slavery, descent of American slavery. So I don't take lightly to y'all talking about a civil war, which was fought so that somebody could still own me when we don't have a civil war in the party. We just have incumbents getting their ass whooped because baby boomers no longer control our party. And that playing nice to get along is not working or resonating with new voters. You would think people that could read the tea leaves, people that got paid billions and millions of dollars for running campaigns, you would think they would know that what the Democratic Socialists is what we should be doing. This is not a reckoning. We're breaking records every election. Mamdani broke the turnout record in New York. El Said just broke turnout record. Democrats broke turnout records. So all of these sleepy primaries where they had very few people participating was easy for these establishment corporate Democrats to win. Now that we have people putting eyes on primaries and forcing them to do and say, it's a problem. And it goes back to something I said a long time ago. Maybe they didn't want a lot of people participating in democracy, and that's why they kept doing the bullshit that they were doing that did not increase participation in electoral politics. Did not increase the number of black and brown voters that participated in our primary, did not increase the motivation, the motivation and energy from young voters. But now we see candidates doing that, and it's the demise of the party. I've heard so many so-called strategists, Democrat strategists, act like it's the end of the world and continue to say, oh, these candidates can't win statewide. Well, what I know is it seems like establishment candidates can't win statewide. How did Sherry Beasley lose North Carolina? How come we haven't had a Democratic senator from North Carolina since Kay Hagan? How come we keep losing Florida? It wasn't the DSA that cost us Florida. Don't tell me progressive candidates cannot win statewide when we've watched establishment candidates continue to lose in places we should never lose. Texas is the first minority majority state, meaning minority populations are the largest voting blocks in those states, and we've not won there yet. Now we have a problem. All of a sudden, when the establishment candidates are losing, it's a civil war. It's a civil war. Y'all didn't want a big tent party. Y'all wanted us quiet and losing and just counting as votes for y'all. Now that we are exerting power, you see progressives as you should see them, people of color and younger, not bowing to dollars and AIPAC, not afraid of AIPAC. And y'all are nervous now. Now it's a problem. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Come on now. Let's be serious. We are watching our party turn into whatever the media pundits are saying. I heard someone say on TV today that the reason we know DSA candidates are not resonating with black voters or resonating with Democratic voters and can't win statewide is because Cori Bush lost again. If anybody consider what happened in Missouri in Cori Bush and William Bales' race in the primary Tuesday, a loss for Cori Bush, then you don't know nothing about politics. Yes, he came out the person with the most votes, so he will proceed to the general election and likely be reelected. But you're naming wrong victories. You're naming wrong victories. They outspent that sister 27-1. That means if she spent 1 million, they spent $27 million. If you count that as a victory, that's like saying Shaq as a teenager beat your grandkid who's a toddler at basketball. That is not a victory. That is a scream that it costs you that much to win a primary. 27-1 is how that sister was outspent. 27-1 is how that sister was outspent. Nobody should count that as a victory for anybody other than Cori Bush. She is so much of a factor. You have to spend $27 every time she spends one, which means we should run her in every race she's qualified for in Missouri, because she will break the bank of those who do not care about poor and working class people, especially black people. We should put her name on the ballot every chance we get in every race. Because even when she does not get the most votes and she's not victorious in that manner, she breaks their coffers. Cori Bush makes them poor. And if you don't count that as a victory, then you don't understand the power of resources in doing electoral work. You don't know what's going on in this moment with our people. You are simply talking. You are clueless about what we have going on. We didn't lose. Cori Bush didn't lose. When you see that sister, if you're in Missouri or if she's in D.C. or wherever you see her at, you better tell her well done. Because we need all of our candidates having them spend 27-1. We need to break them in that manner. Make it so expensive that you don't challenge progressives. Speaking of progressives, let me say something. For our party to play off the fears of people who are too busy with life and trying to survive, and who don't know what socialists, democratic socialists are, and to do what Republicans are doing by pretending that these people are communists, when Donald Trump cozy up to Putin every chance he gets, when he calls him a great man every chance he gets, when these are the people who are anti-fascist, when these are the people who are saying, do you even know what the Democratic Socialist platform is? Have you looked at it? Do you know that one of their national calls is to train people for free on how to run electoral campaigns? How to run electoral campaigns? They're teaching the masses how to run campaigns. You know what that does? That weakens these consultants from getting millions and tens and hundreds of millions of dollars every election cycle. It makes them obsolete when everybody understands how to do this work. That's what they're doing. Do you understand how important the work of DSA is? Do you understand that one of their pillars is anti-imperialism? Two-state solution for Palestine. And I don't want to hear a single damn person tell me black people don't care about what's going on in Palestine. That ain't even a new idea. Black people the first presidential candidate in this country to call for a two-state solution was Jesse Jackson in 1984 and 88. That was part of his platform. Don't tell me that Bernie Sanders is progressive if you don't know what Jesse Jackson's platform was in the 80s. Jesse Jackson, a black man from the South, his roots from the South, what did he do? He said we need reparations. What's more progressive than that? He said we need universal health care. Another one of the pillars of Democratic Socialist Association. Healthcare is a right, a human right. Housing is another one of their pillars, is a human right. They call it housing justice. Everybody deserves a house is a part of their platform. What's extreme about that in this so-called richest nation in the world, where the president is spending $1 billion a day on a war that is unconstitutional? Don't tell me black people aren't progressive We are the original progressive. We vote more with Democrat candidates than any other demographic in this country, which means by default, we are more progressive than the entire nature of this nation and its voters. Y'all, we are being fooled to hate our people because our people have found an avenue to be elected without the blessing of the power structure. Say it plainer, Mundell. Well, I will, damn it. Did you not see Mamdani defeat not just Andrew Cuomo in the primary? It was also Chuck Schumer that got defeated. It was also y'all brother from Brooklyn. Because he ain't my brother. Y'all brother from Brooklyn. Because they chose not to endorse him. They sat passive on this brother who was calling for all the things that the people need. And so right now, the establishment Democrats and all of their consultants or those who get paid for all of the BS that they are being told to say, all of them are saying, oh, this is too extreme. They can't win statewide. I think y'all candidates were too lukewarm. And they've not won statewide. We've seen y'all lose states for the past 30 years at our expense. Since we've turned the party over to you people, middle of the road, moderate Democrats, since we turned the party over to you people, the party's become more conservative. If you look at the stats, it says the Democratic Party has been pulled to the right. Ever since Ronald Reagan, y'all been getting more and more conservative. Ever since we turned the party over to you all, we've lost our ability to even vote safely or securely or in districts that could possibly elect people that look like us. Why are we continuing voting for you all when you all are giving us nothing? At least the Democratic Socialists have figured out, say it Mundell, have figured out how to tie their policies to our lived experiences. Somebody said to me on Twitter, y'all, and it is Twitter. Somebody said to me on Twitter, oh, Cuomo killed Mamdani in the primary. This is trickery. When people start comparing the primary to how black voters feel, they're already playing with you or they don't understand politics in general. Let me say it plainer. The primary voters are usually the most loyal party voters. Everybody ain't just out here voting in primaries. It's usually the most loyal party voters and also say it, older voters. We know that black older voters may be more conservative, but guess what? We also know that they are no longer the majority of black voters. So what do we see after the primary in New York? We watched overwhelmingly black voters vote against Andrew Cuomo and vote for Mamdani. Don't let these people fool you and make you believe that black people don't care about progressive policies. This idea that black people are conservative, this idea that black Southerners are conservatives is a dumb idea. I know because I'm a black Southerner and I know that's anecdotal, but I also run an organization that do nothing but talk to black people, mainly in the South. You can't tell me we are a conservative people. What is it in America that black people should be fighting to conserve anyway? Conserving white Jesus? Conserving redlining? Conserving the underfunding of our students? Conserving the closing of rural hospitals, which affect us more in the South, where majority of black people live percentage-wise? What are y'all talking about? There is no the voting bloc that is black is not conservative, and it is a misnomer for people to say that. So when they start talking about what's going on in the primary, you are being duped if they are comparing it to how black people actually feel about policies. And that's my problem with the stupidity of our elections and those who do this work. They'll get on TV and repeat this, or it'll be people who've never worked on a campaign saying this ridiculousness. Or it'll be white men who have not voted for Democrats since Democrats allow black people to be seated at the party's convention, with Fannie Lou Hamer being sick and tired of being sick and tired. It ain't hard. You might have to read a little bit, but I ain't the only one that know this. This is information that's available to all of us. Huh? 27-1 is what it costs to beat black woman Cori Bush. You mean he ain't just beat her? Every time she spent $1, he spent 27. I call that a victory. Somebody said, I told Satan, victory is mine. Cori Bush told William Bell, victory was hers. She broke him. What type of money? You know how much money it costs to run an election like that? What happens when progressives raise $10 million? You do the math. What's 27 times 10? That's how much they're going to have to spend to beat us. What happens when we raise $10 million? They're going to have to spend 27 times the amount to beat us? That's exactly where we want them at. That's exactly where we want them at. We will break them supporting those candidates and those policies that do not address people's lack of health care, that do not address the fact that people are going bankrupt for paying for medical procedures, that do not address the fact that this president, your president, my president, the president of the United States of America told us today that his administration is about to start deregulating pre-K. Prepare yourself for a government that's trying to make people dumber, that's killing education in every manner they can. Why is that? Why is that? There's a lot of ideas I have about why is that, but I bet you it's got something to do with the dumber people are, the longer Donald Trump think he can stay in power. The dumber he believe he can make people, the less he spend on education and people he don't care about, which are the poor white people that voted for him. Yeah, the poor white people that voted for Donald Trump. You're paying too much for gas too. You're paying too much for food too. Poor white farmers, you know what's going on with your farm. Third, fourth generation farms on the risk of losing them because of you voted for this. You voted for whiteness over your feasibility. Let's be clear what's happening in this country. Let's be clear about who we are talking about and who the enemy is. And I'm obligated to call Donald Trump my enemy in this moment because he is killing black people. His policies are literally killing black people. That is not hyperbole. There are studies that show that more than 1 million people have died because of the cutting of aid, USAID, through Doge. People are dying from diseases that we thought were gone. How we got an outbreak of measles? Didn't we just wipe measles out at the beginning of the 21st century? Measles is back. New diseases. We got new bacteria in water. All these things that we thought we didn't have to worry about because we weren't thinking or we took for granted the federal government and all of the agencies that played space or took up this space. And now this government, this administration has broken it, but it don't matter because y'all think it's okay for him to support billionaires or make his sons billionaires because they alone, just 12 companies that they invested in have tripled the defense contracts they got to the tune of $3 billion. Don Jr. is getting into drones, and all of a sudden, Donald Trump is telling the Pentagon they need to invest in drones. In your face, this man is making you poorer while he's making his family extremely rich and everybody who's around him. They are profiting off of the American presidency in a way that no one has ever had. No one has ever profited. And we sit idle. We sit idle, not as individuals alone, but collectively. No one is demanding that the Senate rein in this president. This president needs to be reined in because he launched an unconstitutional war and no one is doing anything about it. Imagine what America would have done. Imagine what America would have done if another country would have went into another country and snatched their president out and put him in jail. Imagine what America would have said. At the same time, you said you snatched him because of drug cartel, but you freed another president in Central America who we knew had been convicted by a United States court for selling hundreds of millions of dollars or helping with hundreds of millions of dollars of drug. You pardoned that person. And then you just said, oh yeah, now we control Venezuela oil. Guys, the president of the United States cannot launch a war. except for Donald Trump has. Donald Trump has launched a war. And we are doing nothing about it. We're doing nothing about it. The Senate is doing nothing about it. You know what the Senate is doing? The Senate is chasing an 85-year-old man in Dr. Fauci, who's been out of government, not even elected. He was never elected, been out of government for some years now. And they're trying to bring charges on him, Dr. Fauci, because he took his constitutional right to plead the fifth. But they won't bring charges on Donald Trump and the other rich white men in the Epstein files, who had an island full of young girls that they were raping and abusing. And they took the one person that was alive that's in prison for those charges and moved her to the luxury prison where she can get massages and visit her doll. How is this our normal? There's no one checking this president as he unconstitutionally launched a war. Unconstitutionally. Move money around, guys. The power of the purse is supposed to be one of the powers that allow Congress to check the president. Someone said it perfectly. The president is the CEO of the United States. But CEOs have bosses. Their bosses are called the board of directors of businesses. Congress, 535 people in Congress should be the board that checks him. No one is checking this president. The power of the purse is how you control the president, supposedly, from being, a tyrant. But this president is moving money however he wants to. This president has gave away more no bid contracts than any president. This president is the most unpopular president all the way back to the 40s. I'm 47. That's 30 years before I was born. He's that unpopular. That ain't no one poll from some progressive outlet. That is a collective, a collection of polls aggregated. He's that unpopular, yet the Republicans will not stand up to him. He's moving money around any way he wants to. He painted a pool. He's lying to y'all in your face. In April, Donald Trump told you, he said, Doug, I know a guy who can paint the pool and have it ready by the 4th of July. And he has a great color. It's called American flag blue. And then Donald Trump said, I love that color. Today or yesterday on the news, Donald Trump said, I didn't even know the guy. And none of the media that was sitting right there checked him. None of the media checked him. Donald Trump is allowed to lie without people checking him. Not just him. Donald Trump's racists and sycophants that are around him are allowed to do the same thing without anybody checking him. They are about to confirm Blanche. How, Sway? How are you about to confirm him for attorney general when he was Donald Trump's defense attorney? This president's defense attorney, past defense attorney, is about to be the attorney general of the United States. We've already seen him weaponize the Justice Department for Donald Trump at the pleasure of Donald Trump. We've already seen him move Ghislaine Maxwell, the one person who's in prison for the Epstein situation, got moved to a place that no one with her charges had ever been sent because it's too light of a place. This is America. This is 2026 and 1926 at the same time. This is 2026 and 1926 at the same time. And the Democrats, instead of rallying behind or asking the Democratic Socialists, how do we do this? They're taking the narratives from Donald Trump, Republicans, and media. We don't like to win. That's what it seems like to me. That's what it seems like to me. Our party is dead set on losing. And then because the people we elevate are the people doing the same thing. And they're usually boomers or real close to boomers. Right now, we got preachers talking about march on Washington and march on your state. I'm so listen, guys. I'm so tired of people talking about marching right now with no strategy. This idea, we're gonna march people to the poll. You're gonna march the same people that would have went to vote anyway to the polls. And we need to say that. And we need to say that out loud because it is taxing on who we are and the resources we're doing. And we got donors. The donor class continue to fund these same old tactics that ain't bringing no souls to the poll. I'm so tired of preachers telling black people, let's march to the poll. That tactic is ridiculous. And it's also just taking people to the polls that were already going. You're not expanding the electorate. Mainly because you can't reach out to black men. And you know who I'm talking about, even though you are a black preacher man. Because you don't speak on their behalf. Young black men don't hear you. You don't speak for them. The people that love you, black preacher man, are white people. The women in your church and the few old men deacon who are holding on to the power and the title that they are deacons. This is not me being harsh on the black church. This is me telling the truth. And I'm going to say it extremely clear as someone who is a God-fearing, a black Jesus, nappy-headed Jesus loving man. Young black men don't listen to preachers. They're not influencers. They have no sway over how these brothers live their lives. 90% of these brothers are not in church. And it's because they want to police their clothing. It's because the messaging don't speak to who they are. Or maybe it's because the institution stayed stagnant for too long and thought it was going to be enough. These are the facts, whether you like them or not. This is where we find ourselves in this moment. Deal with it or deal past it. You just have to know that it is facts. And every time you spend dollars on these preachers, you are reaching the same people that were likely to vote anyway. Because the people that keep church going, whether it's a man on the stage on Sunday or not, the people that keep church going are black women. Black women are the reason churches keep going, not young black men. So listening to these older black men talk about what's good with these young brothers or try to criticize them or talk at them ain't gonna do nothing but cost you another election. And you can sit up here and pray and play all you want to. I'm telling you, with them, you get no sway. You see what I did there? You can sit up here and pray and play all you want to. But with them, this old guard, you get no sway with the young guard. I bet you that. And if you ain't heard that message, fire the people that are your advisors because they're costing us elections. They're the reason you believe DSA is a bad idea. They're the reason you're listening to these posters who has no pulse on the movement and rhythm of young black men. Those are the facts that you don't want to swallow. No pause. But you need to. Furthermore, I got horrible news today. The NAACP is about to continue with this push trying to force young black men to boycott. Guys, put that shit to bed. And now I got this firsthand. They out here trying to get people to sign NDAs because they got called out because the people told them that their strategy was lacking something. Well, I was screaming that before they went loud. I said it up front. It was a bad idea when D.L. Hughley said it. And I said, we need to stop sharing that post before it goes crazy. And the next week, the NAACP, without any consultation for any org that talk to young black men, speak on their behalf, or even without talking to young black men that ain't well situated, like the ones they had standing behind them at the podium, any of us could have told them it was a bad idea. Any of us. So now they out here trying to force other organizations to sign NDAs, to be in consultation. Any org that goes along with this idea, any org I see attach their name to the NAACP's work right now as it pertains to trying to push young black men in this manner, oh, we're going to be on your neck. We're going to be on your neck. We're going to be on your neck because it's 120 plus Fortune 500 companies in the same southern states. And they ain't got no ask of these rich black or well-to-do black people that works in these companies. They ain't ask nothing of these rich athletes. They ain't ask nothing. They ask nothing of Tyler Perry. Tell him to shut down production. They ain't ask nothing of D.L. Hewley, who came up with this dumbass idea. They ain't ask nothing of all the black people who are still on ESPN to step away. They ain't ask nothing of Don Staley, the coach of South Carolina. Matter of fact, they were so unstrategic in their asking. They said the SEC schools, Georgia didn't even pass a law to redistrict, but North Carolina did, and North Carolina has no schools in the SEC. It's a dumb strategy that lacks strategy. It ain't no strategy. Like I said, y'all can pray and play if you want, but you ain't got no sway. And what you're going to do is cost us this midterm when you shouldn't. Y'all should put your egos aside and let's win this for black people, brown people, marginalized people, people living with their backs against the razor edge of the wall. And if you could do what James Cone did, the good preacher from the way back in Arkansas, if you could do what Thurman did and talk about the lynching tree and the cross and make people understand that you can't understand Jesus if you don't understand what's happening to black people in this moment. If you don't understand that, then you don't understand Jesus. If you could do that, then you could probably grow your church. If you could do that, then you could probably grow the NAACP. If you could do that, you probably could bring black men into your motherfucking organization. But until you do that, you should stop acting like you speak on our behalf. And that's the word. That's the word. That's the word. 27-1 is what it costs to be the progressive. Cori Bush did not lose. We should all be calling her, sending her congratulation message. If you got her cell phone number, you should have already texted her. If you live in St. Louis, you should be flying a flag for her. 27-1. Her campaign should be studied because it is the blueprint on how we defeat these Bamas. We got candidates right now. Establishment Democrats. Name one of them. Name one of them. Hakeem Jeffries. Have you said anything about Debbie Wasserman Schultz running to that historical black district to put her name on the damn ballot to run in that seat to challenge black people, even though she don't live in a district in Florida? You ain't say nothing about that. We cannot trust the establishment. We cannot trust leadership. They have sold us short. They have put us in this position where they have no creative thinking that includes the needs of our people because they're blinded by the money that comes from these people in charge. Who are the people in charge, man, if it ain't the politicians? It's their donors. The donor class is controlling these politicians. Why we ain't screaming about the Epstein file? This is not something small. 1,000 plus young ladies were raped and sexually assaulted and abused on an island by a billionaire with princes and royalty from all over this world and the richest men in the world. And your president. Y'all so-called Christians in your Christian nation. And then yesterday, you got the president on stage in Nevada with the Nevada governor saying that he loves, even though the media is talking about Trump taking care of billionaires, he said he loves that Donald Trump is taking care of billionaires. Guys, this is something that would have got leaked usually in a from a meeting, a secret meeting or something. He said it out loud. This man said it. He said it with his whole chest. He said it with his whole chest. And Donald Trump was standing right there. He loved that he's taking care of billionaires. What else are y'all listening for? We got the world's first trillionaire under this president. We seen the return from what Biden policies was versus the big beautiful bill. We spent billions of dollars for Biden's, but it created hundreds of billions of dollars, which means it was a net gain. Donald Trump's policy has gained us nothing. So it's a net loss just to give tax breaks to billionaires and then straight-faced on the TV talking about a war that he's spending billions of dollars a day on to say with a straight face we don't have money for early childhood education, that we're going to have to cut back. They're cutting services. Arguing in the White House with your defense attorney because I'm sorry, not your defense attorney, with your Department of War secretary because y'all didn't know how to count missiles and how many weapons we had. And now we're running low, which makes the country vulnerable to the point that if we get attacked by somebody else in another part of the world, we're probably in deep shit because y'all don't know what the hell y'all playing with. Because y'all didn't count on Iran closing the Strait of Hormuz, giving them more power now. Barack Obama gave them back a few billions of their money, not our money, their money that we had sanctioned to have control and have actual eyes on the ground on their nuclear program. You tore that deal up. And now what we have, no control, no eyes, and now they're asking for way more money. And they also control the Strait of Hormuz. And gas is high. And the economy is dumpster. And the economy is a dumpster dive. And Democrats want to fight Democrats. They want to fight us, progressives, and say that black people ain't progressive. Y'all don't even see that y'all doing the work of the white folk. My dad calls snakes no shoulders. Y'all doing the work of the no shoulders. Y'all are costing us this midterm when we don't have to lose. Democrats aren't investing in North Carolina 3. That's a district right next to my congressional district. They took 300,000 black people out of our district and put it in that district. They rather spend 27-1 against Cori Bush than to try to pick up a seat in North Carolina against a Republican. Because those 300,000 people that were in the congressional first are now in the congressional third in North Carolina. So instead of taking that money, trying to engage them around that candidate, they're spending it against Cori Bush. They don't want to win. Me and Desmond Meade, if you don't know Desmond Meade, you should know Desmond Meade. Desmond is in Florida. He's running for governor. He's running as an independent. Black man, created FRCC, Florida's Right Coalition. Them people. FORCC, Florida's Right Restoration Coalition. That's what it is. Whoo! You wouldn't even think I was there when it happened. Anyway, I created the organizing department for him and trained everybody. Me and Sue. Desmond was there when he was doing this work to restore all these people coming home from prison, rights to vote. He was there darling. This man literally was going around the state sleeping on people's couches to get this done. Before he got on the ballot, nobody was helping him. He was literally going from county to county, sleeping on different people's houses, getting these signatures that he needed to get it on the ballot. Once he got on the ballot by himself, with very little help, then he became everybody's sweetheart. If you guys remember, that was the year after that work, because ACLU came down there and tried to attach their name to it. They got $1 billion from somebody. They got $1 billion, not him, for his work. A bunch of orgs raised a bunch of money off the work this man did. And now he's running for governor, and they won't even pick up his phone calls. Some of the services that we use to run campaigns won't even allow him to use those services. Some of the services necessary to raise money won't even allow that man to use their services. And I can't name a single Democrat that has done more for black people than Desmond Meade in Florida. Shout out to Dwight Bullock, because I ain't taking nothing from you, brother. Shout out to Angela Nix. I ain't taking nothing from you, sis. Angie Nixon is running for Senate. And if you don't know about Duval, and you should definitely, if you live in Florida, or if you care about people, if you got people in Florida, you should make sure that they're heading their way over to angienixon.com or to her campaign headquarters to volunteer and donate and work for her, because she needs that Senate seat. Another candidate that the party ain't offering no support. I'm offering you all free advice about what you need to do. I'm talking to the party at the national level. Y'all can continue to pretend that you have a winning strategy. All I'm going to ask you is, why haven't you deployed it in the past 30 years? We've lost and continue to lose at our expense because of y'all and y'all strategies and the enriching of y'all friends. Y'all same consultants continue to make money hand over fist as they lose their way up the ladder. We're not running baby boom. Listen, if Barack Obama was to run right now, I don't know if he would win. This is not a baby boomers generation. People are not nostalgic for the preacher ass, the long voice, slow speaking. If Dr. King was alive right now, he wouldn't be there's no singular. We have a democratized space for information. Our ideas of leadership in this time is completely different than what it was then. The expectations of leadership now is nothing, because everybody, specifically black men, everybody believe that they're their own leaders. They believe that they're their own leaders. There's no, I need to follow someone because he's my pastor or we're the same denomination. I just told you that motto is gone. The only people holding on to that motto are gatekeepers. Tell the truth and shame the devil. The devil is status quo. And I ain't talking about a physical devil with red skin and horns. I'm talking about that which is going to cost us elections. That which is going to cost us to lose. That is the devil. That is the status quo. And I know y'all don't want to hear that because y'all, some of y'all white people like y'all because y'all can sing, or y'all tap dance for them. But if you had any dignity about yourself, you wouldn't pretend that you're speaking on behalf of black people at our expense. You wouldn't even do it. You wouldn't even do it. You would be ashamed to do it. You should be ashamed to do it. To be clear, we are not in a position for status quo. If you are a part of the status quo, you should be ashamed of yourself to tell anybody, because the state of Black America is not better because of it. Hi, Pinkerbell. Hi, Aleem. I'm serious, y'all. We are, and let me tell you, I want to put y'all in on game. So this a little game right here, guys. Little game. Y'all ready for it? Get y'all a little game. You don't have to win a national election to protect black voters. Say it again, Mundell. You don't have to win national elections to protect black voters. You know what Delaware did? Delaware passed its own voter rights law. that protects black people more than the federal government ever did with the Civil Rights Act. In response to Louisiana, and they said it out loud. They didn't say, oh, we're not going to say DEI, or we're not going to say woke. They passed a law and made it clear that they were aiming to protect black voters. Delaware. That's what you got to do. If that happened in all the states, watch how black people respond. That's the work. And I know it's unrealistic to say all the states because Republican controls all of them, but not all of them, but a lot of them. But it leads back to my other point. How did Republicans get control of all of them? Bullshit ass Democrats running these status quo elections. So you don't get to tell progressives how far we need to go to bring our people back, to protect our people. Because y'all afraid to say that black people deserve reparation, status quo ass people. Y'all afraid to say that black people need to be protected at all costs because y'all are worried about if DEI funds are going to cost you all anything or everything. Status quo ass people. It's possible though. Delaware just showed us that. Michigan just showed us that. New York showed us that. And I don't want to hear that idea that, oh, New York's progressive. Michigan is the opposite of New York as it pertains to voter turnout normally. Michigan has the worst performing, Michigan is the state with the worst performing record for black men. Yet we just saw record numbers. When you engage people, when you talk to people, you change how they see elections. But what ain't gonna do it is you telling them the same thing. This is the most important election. Donald Trump is evil. This election is gonna fix everything. We don't need to hear those lies. We don't even need you to win everything. We just need you to fight like you say you're gonna fight. You can't promise us and then do nothing. And I don't want to hear one voter tell me how selfish black men are when they don't show up for candidates who ain't spending money prioritizing them. Instead, you're giving it to preachers and the NAACP. Ain't nobody giving money to Candace to turn out black women. Candace Owen I'm talking about. So why y'all giving it to Derek and the NAACP? Why y'all giving it to preachers? They don't speak on behalf of young black men. They speak on behalf of college-educated black folk. Those people are probably going to vote anyway. Most of them. Or more of them than not. What's up, 1%? Shout out to my people on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, Substack, and YouTube. I love y'all on YouTube. Y'all know that. Yeah, so I really think we need to get serious about what we're doing and what we're allowing people to say about us and how we show up. You know what I mean? Because right now in this moment, we don't have the luxury to pretend that everything is okay, because everything is not okay. Everything is not okay. You hear me? Everything ain't okay. We literally have Delaware painting a picture on what we need to do, on how we need to win for black voters, and how you don't need to be afraid. And we have the Democratic Party not focusing on Republicans, not focusing on Epstein files, not focusing on how they're going to make the Democratic Senate or House do their part to bring charges against this administration for unconstitutional launching of a war, moving funds, non-bid contracts, and enriching himself, his family, and his friends. We want to go to war with progressives. I don't understand that. Donald Trump somehow put the Christian right together with the loonies and made the May 2016 to now, the past decade. How could he do that? And he had no political understanding. And y'all are supposed to be political experts, strategists, and you can't figure out how to go get along with progressives who believe more of what you believe than not. But they offended your money, which tells me you're not concerned with the people. You're concerned with your interests or your donors' interests. And that's disgusting, because you can't be a representative democracy representing donors more than you are people. You eventually run yourself into one or two positions. People stop caring about your elections and don't participate, or people tear this shit down. Right now, DSA is turning this shit down in a way that's healthy for our democracy. We need to shed the ideas and strategies of baby boomers and traditional campaigning. It is dead. If you don't believe me, look at the number of people that were sitting out elections. That rejection, they weren't becoming more conservative. Donald Trump didn't pick up more voters last election cycle. More people chose the couch. More people chose the couch. 30+% of Americans said, I'm good on it. That is a critique of strategy and candidates on our side. What up, Uptown? So what I'm telling y'all is we need to make sure we need to make sure that we're being honest about what's going on. And y'all are not being honest. Y'all are sitting back playing bullshit. Y'all are sitting back acting as if the shit that we are doing and been doing is working. If what we were doing is working, how did Florida become a purple state? Because y'all let the I-4 corridor go. Florida, we lose Florida damn near every election cycle that we have a statewide election by 67 to 60 or 70,000 votes. And more than that number of black and brown people in the I-4 corridor sit out the election cycle after election cycle. You want to know what else y'all do to lose Florida? Y'all run English language to black voters all throughout Broward County. Broward is the blackest county, yes, in Florida. Yes. But Broward, majority of that population are Creole speakers. They're Haitian. Y'all don't send one fucking piece of literature that say "ça passe" or "nabule" or whatever you need to say to speak to these people. You don't send nothing to the large Jamaican population there. What go on? You just send it in regular English because you're too fucking lazy. And to you, black is black. You just see black people, no delineation. So you lose that election. And then you say, oh, it's a conservative state. We lose Texas. Why do we lose Texas? Because ain't nobody invested, no Democratic candidate or establishment, organization, civic organization, or anybody knocking on the doors of people in the 33 most eastern county, from the top of the map to the bottom of the map. Where the state touched Louisiana all the way down to the Gulf Coast. Nobody's knocking on those doors because y'all think it's too rural. So when we knock on the door where there's 66,000 plus black men, and they be like, what you doing knocking on doors? Nobody's ever knocked on our doors. I'm confused. How y'all talking about how many millions y'all spending in Texas and these brothers ain't never had nobody knock on their door? That tells me one or two things. Y'all spend all y'all money in Houston, Dallas, or San Antonio, or Austin, trying to keep it weird. That's why you losing. Y'all bullshit ass strategies. Y'all knocking on the same doors of the same people, talking to super voters. All of y'all are talking to the same voters and telling the same donors that, yeah, we turned out this many voters. Those people voted in every election. Everybody's going to vote anyway. Take your ass out in the country and talk to people that ain't never been talked to. Go to small towns and talk to people that ain't never been talked to. Y'all don't do that. Y'all don't even organize events. Y'all just show up to events and hand out your towels and shit and say it's yours and take pictures and it's somebody else's event. That's what y'all do. Y'all ain't willing to tell that truth. Y'all afraid to tell the truth. I'm in the mood to tell the truth. I'm in the mood to tell the truth. Y'all are the fucking reason we lose. Y'all think y'all gonna be talking, y'all gonna use Donald Trump this and Donald Trump that. Ain't no motherfucking black man scared of Donald Trump. That shit ain't gonna motivate nobody to go vote. You ain't gonna scare no vote out of black man talking about somebody orange. It ain't gonna work. Because guess what? To black men, damn near all of these presidents affected our lives the same way. All of these motherfuckers were damn near Donald Trump. If you don't believe me, let me show you before any of y'all tell me, oh, life was great. Life ain't never been great for black men. If you count all of the years they was lynching black men in trees, I think that number is a little more than 3,000. Since 2016 to not August of this year. Guess what? Washington Post stopped counting how many black men and people were killed by police officers December 31st, 2024. So since 2016 to December 31st, 2024, more than 3,000 black people, majority, overwhelmingly, damn near all of them were killed by cops. So hundreds of years of lynching, less than 10 years of police, and black men still got the same fucking number of deaths. And you want to talk to us about an orange man? Y'all about to step your strategy up. It is true that Donald Trump policies are killing black people. It is also true that you don't get to speak to black men about that because you have no relationship with them, so you don't know what's important to them. So anything you say to them will be talking at them. Your first conversation can't be, Donald Trump did this, this, and this, when you don't even know what these people's lived experiences are. You've not built relationship. You have no foundation to talk to somebody about something as important or intimate as their vote. But you don't see it that way because you're arrogant. I'm talking to our party, the strategists, and these pundits who get on TV and say dumb shit about black men. I don't care what your poll told you. I don't care what your pastor told you. I don't care. It is not accurate. It is absolutely stupid to talk down on black men when you've done nothing to reach them. D.L. Hughley, Derek, NAACP, all y'all preachers, you don't speak for this demographic. You don't. And if you had any ounce of integrity, any iota of integrity, you would tell the truth. So you could tell the donors, don't give us money to reach black men because we don't do it well. But your ego won't let you do that because most of y'all are black men. Tell the truth. That's a new one. Tell the truth. Not truth. Tell the truth. Y'all are costing us elections when we don't have to lose them. Mississippi, black man running for Senate. Scott Cologne could easily win that Senate seat with a program that was actually well thought out. That don't exist right now. That is not happening right now. Scott Cologne could easily be a senator from Mississippi. 4 congressional districts, we could easily get down there and work the hell out of those 4 congressional districts. That ain't what y'all interested in. Y'all interested in a neo-Nazi in Maine. What's up, Mayor Elliott? It's good to see you, sister. I love you. Y'all are playing games with what's really at stake. Let me tell y'all something. I'm a country boy. I was out in the fields today. I ain't take nothing but my NPR station on my van, my cell phone, and my camera on my cell phone, and that's it. I was just out there just chilling, listening to the bugs, the crickets talk to the blue jays. And let me tell you what I started to think about. Ain't nobody on national TV, ain't nobody in black communities, ain't nobody right now in the Democratic Party preparing black people for what's going on. Puerto Rico ain't the only place in the drought. I don't know if y'all heard about this. Puerto Rico right now is about to go to 48 hours with water, 48 hours without water. Why are you talking to me about Puerto Rico, Monday? I live in North Carolina. Let me tell you why. Donald Trump just made it easier for America's wetland, and they were so vague, we don't know if that's streams or whatever, to be developed. The protected wetlands of this nation, the federal government said they would no longer be doing a lot of the protecting or permitting will not be required. They turn it over to the states. And guess what? I live in North Carolina. And we're already fighting certain industries that's trying to take our water. Certain counties trying to take our water. Melissa know that firsthand. Mayor Elliott know that firsthand. But North Carolina did something so dastardly. First of all, let me tell y'all something about my stupid ass state. North Carolina and Alabama are the only two states in this country that don't have a process that you have to apply to use public water. If your land is beside some water, you can literally just pull up and drain as much of it as you want to. No process at all. Even if you do 1 million gallons a day, there's no process where you need to fill out a paperwork. There's no punishment for it. North Carolina and Alabama are the only two states, but that ain't just it. Donald Trump just said he was going to make it easier. I'm sorry, he already made it easier, and he's working to make it even more easier, which means there'll be less restrictions on developing wetlands. In North Carolina, Louisiana, and Tennessee, just deregulated basically wetlands. My state, North Carolina, a state where we are, the eastern part of our state is swampy. Our swamps are important. People say drain the swamp. We'll talk about that in a second. But they are literally giving people the blueprint to go ahead and develop all of this shit if you want to. Don't forget, we got rid of like 2/3 of the world's forest in 100 years. Now we're about to dry up all the water with development. And those swamps are not just important to swamps. Swamps are important to the whole ecosystem. Streams are important to the whole, and other tributaries are important to the whole ecosystem. And North Carolina just made it easier for people to develop our wetlands. What does that mean? Small towns, rural towns. North Carolina, 70% of the towns are small and rural. Depend on natural waterways to provide water services to their residents. They're basically saying two things. Business is the only thing they care about, and nothing else. Because we were not strategic enough. For 30 years, we focused on national elections, and Republicans through the Koch brothers with all of their investment in ALEC focused on taking over state legislatures. And now Republicans have been doing whatever they want to in North Carolina, stripping powers from the governor as much as every chance they can. It ain't just North Carolina. It's the failure of our party all over, because we are afraid to tell the truth that the establishment is not working anymore. It had a run from the 60s to the early 2000s. Thank you. But right now you are in the way. If you care about progress, if you care about people, step aside. Let people who are concerned with how we win. Let us win. Let us win. Because what y'all are doing is literally killing people. It's literally killing people. A pundit said with a straight face, a left-leaning pundit said today with a straight face, billionaires don't like DSA members because they're talking about taking some of their money. If that is the case, we don't like them. If you are a billionaire and you're worried about paying more taxes, you are the problem. And leftists shouldn't take your money. Abdul Saeed won, and he gave a speech this morning, and he said, money, the more money we get out of politics is more money in your pockets. I honestly believe that. I honestly believe that. Uptown, I'm going to tell you why there's not going to be a civil war. It's not enough of them. They think they are more powerful than they are. But if, as you see, you've never seen a cycle where so many incumbents have lost their election. You've never seen a cycle where so many incumbents have lost in the primary. So you got the party standing behind these incumbents and they're still losing. They understand what's going on. You know, the statement told us, the old Jewish preacher, or I should say rabbi, said, first they ignore you, then they laugh at you, then they fight you, then you win. They ignored us. They laughed. Now they're fighting. Now they're fighting. Their demise, the dare I'm talking about is moderate. The idea of moderate is rejected as a good principle in biblical. If these so-called people care about the radical Jesus that I know, they would get spat out. Their form of politics would tell you that John Fetterman is okay. My form of politics will destroy Fetterman, just like what happened the other last night, I think. That's what should and supposed to happen to that form of politics. You should be embarrassed in every interview. When you equate a nation that's killing tons of people in a genocide manner, a people who in recent history were victims of a genocide. When you say that state, Benjamin Netanyahu's government, is that people, you're full of shit. And you could be against Israel and Benjamin Netanyahu's government and say that wholeheartedly that government is imperialist and acting just like America is around this country in this moment. And they are also responsible for a genocide and war crimes, and Benjamin Netanyahu should be arrested. You should be able to say that. And if you can't say that, when we watched hospitals and kids, almost as many people that America lost in Vietnam is how many people they lost in Palestine, in Gaza. And most of them were women and children. And you can't say that Benjamin Netanyahu is the problem? Y'all goofy. You want to say, oh, black people ain't worried about that. We got our own issues. We do have our issues, but we can walk and chew gum. Black people have always been in solidarity with other people, other oppressed people around the world. Y'all missed the message in We Are the World. The beauty of that song is not the people singing it. It's that a group of black people got together and saw the need to write something about a problem that was an epidemic affecting black people beyond geopolitical borders. Right now, that song was about the AIDS epidemic. Right now, we are the world coming from black people need to be written about this new anti-blackness that's popping up, anti-immigrant that's popping up. The new We Are the World has to be an anti-whiteness song, a song about how we reject whiteness and imperialism all over this world, because none of us are safe as long as one of us are suffering through whiteness. Hey y'all, I'm Mondale Robinson. I'm mayor of Enfield, North Carolina. It's a small town in the eastern part of the state. It's a majority black county. The county is named Halifax. Let me tell y'all a secret about my county. Halifax County is special to me because it is the birthplace of freedom. In 1700s, the first place that petitioned to be free from Britain was Halifax. I don't celebrate that. That ain't. But what I do know is that that same spirit to be free exists in my people too. Always have. And I know that because we are the home of many people that protested on plantation and off plantation. And also people might not know about the Halifax voter movement, but it's a historical thing too. So my people have been fighting for freedom forever. It is also worth noting that fresh out of slavery as early as the 1920s, my county, Halifax County, small rural black county, majority black county in eastern North Carolina, one of the poorest counties then and now in this country, pulled their resources together and were able to build 46 Rosenwald schools. For anyone that don't know what Rosenwald schools are, Rosenwald schools were schools that black people, that were built for black children because white people were not sending their kids to school with black kids. So Rosenwald was the CEO of Sears Roebuck, and the schools were designed by Booker T. Washington. Rosenwald schools. So they would raise 15% of the money to Rosenwald school, and the rest of the money had to come from the community, black people, through money, labor, and resources. And my county built 46. That's more than any other county in the history of this country. 46 schools, fresh out of slavery. Poor black people pool their resources together to say that I know you are taxing us and poll taxes that we have to pay so your kids can go to school or so you people can live comfortable lives. But we're going to find a way to raise the money to also build schools for our kids without. So that's two taxes that our people were paying. The taxes to the county, plus also still finding a way to build. I'm telling you right now, the tenacity to build, even though it's a double tax. And I'm not asking black people to be superheroes. I'm just telling you the answer to this problem that we have within our party, this idea to be moderate, this need to sit back and sit quiet on shit that's important to us, like reparations, like Medicare for all, like a universal basic income, like housing for everybody, like a two-state solution to the Palestine problem, like overtaxing billionaires, taking it back to the time in the 50s and 60s when we had major growth, when they were taxed at almost 95, 97% of anything over $2 or $3 million. Take it back to that time. If we taxed Bezos' money at that rate, he would still be a billionaire. We are the cure to the problem that exists within the party. The party is not powerful. The party don't exist without us. I laugh when people talk about, black people following rules following the Democratic rules. We don't follow shit from the Democrats. We are the rules. What we allow happen to us is tragic, but it's tragic only because those nice Negroes are in the office. Whenever we get ready to storm, proverbially storm, those offices, we can change all those rules. And we don't have to worry about people being policed for do-rags or bonnets, like suits. Stop people from being disgusting, because Donald Trump has never wore a do-rag or a bonnet, and he's a fucking thug. We are the power that we've been looking for. We are the answer we've been waiting for. So when they tell you that DSA ain't for you, think if you stand for universal health care. Think if you stand for affordable housing, and that housing is a right, not a luxury. When they tell you that you can't or you shouldn't, ask them why and who told them. I was talking to some kids the other day, end of summer camp, and just saying what I had to say to them. And I asked, like you have the right to be anything you dream, and you should call out any adult that tell you anything about your dreams. I feel like America made black people buy into this idea that a picket white fence and the house under their terms was the nature of our definition of American dream. We fell short because we started fighting for their version of American dream. And we didn't know that their American dream was made easy because they didn't have to live the nightmare that we do. Their American dream was made easy because their housing was subsidized. Their lives were subsidized. There was no middle class before World War II. It was government programs that created that middle class for the benefit of white people. All we need to do is stand up straight, and everybody on our back will fall the fuck off. I'm Mondale Robinson. I'm about to get back on this podcast. Y'all be great. Peace and blessings.